Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode 50. My name is Mike Williams. I'm joined by Mr. Gareth Evans.
Hello.
And Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
50th episode of the podcast.
It's getting close.
Can you believe?
Almost a year.
Close to
Exactly,
a year.
almost the anniversary time. So that's exciting.
I'd love to know who's watched them all.
Yeah, I'm sure a few people have. Like, podcasts are the kind of thing that you follow right through to the end. Even if you come to it, later on, you might go back and go through the back catalogue of a podcast. I certainly have done that in the past.
And they're all available on Patreon to download. Just in case, just throw that out there right now at the very beginning. Every single week, there's a comment. Right, where can I download the podcast as MP3? Patreon is your answer, and it's there for free. You don't have to be a Patreon. You don't have to be a patron. You can just download them for free.
That's right.
The whole back catalogue.
Just host it there, so you don't have to be supporting us or anything. But all these questions are from Patreon supporters. They ask these questions in response to the podcast when we post the podcast over on our Patreon. They ask us questions down at the bottom. This is what this entire podcast is built on now. That's not how it started out, but that's what it is these days, and it seems to be working pretty well. So let's just jump straight into it, I guess. Jeffrey Holden gets us off with a big question. This week. I've been investing for close to 30 years and close to 5% of my investments are in video game specific or related stock. My questions for you. Now, we did ask a few questions, so I just had to pick like two of my favourites. To be honest with you, Jeffrey, I didn't really understand a lot of what the questions you were asking because I don't invest in stuff. Do you believe investors bear some of the responsibility for the current state of the video game industry, specifically the loot boxes and psychological manipulation schemes? Now, I guess we do talk about investors a lot, and a lot of the games industry news comes from investment briefings and stuff. The companies are talking to the investors. So are the investors to blame for the current state of the games industry? Guys, what do you think?
Wouldn't say they're to blame. I would say there is a responsibility on them to know and be informed about gaming and game creation and what it takes to be to go through that whole development cycle and what it takes to make a good game as well. You don't necessarily have to be able to do it or anything, but I mean, there's no responsibility on their behalf really because they're interested in making money. That's their choice that they make. They don't choose to make bad games. They don't choose to put microtransactions in, but they just go where the money is. It's the capitalist system. That's it. I don't think there's much responsibility beyond. Don't put pressure on your games developers or publishers to be bad. That's the only responsibility they've got, I think.
Liam, I think the investors are the ones that want money, right? They're putting money into a company like EA, and they're investing in stock, and they want some return on that. So is it the investor's fault for being an investor, or is it EA's fault for resorting to whatever it takes to get the cash?
I think it's probably equal blame on both sides because at the end of it, a company's main objective is to generate income for its investors. I think that's even what it is in law. So a company like EA is legally obligated to, make as much money as possibly can for their investors. But it's sort of like investors demand money, but then surely it's on the board of directors at EA who are there enabling that sort of behaviour from their investors. Whereas if you think they should probably be like, no guys, think we should do it for the reputation or something instead of the money. But at the end of the day, investors just want to see a return on their investment. And that's probably why EA go down the road of all these manipulative business practices.
Such a short-sighted outlook though, isn't it? I mean, it's all about decisions but if you're going into it with that mindset, it was how can we make the most amount of money right now, then if you discard the ramifications in the long term, then maybe it's over the long-term scheme of things, it's not the right decision. So
I think we mentioned this in videos in the past a lot, where it's exactly that. It's the short-term thing. It's looking at next year, looking at the financials for this year and next year, and how they're going to get a little bit. They need to make more money because that's the way capitalism works. You need to be growing as a business. You can't, if you're stable, then you're failing. You're not doing a good enough job. You need to be getting more money, getting more cash, and that's how they kind of measure success in the whole. But you're an investor, Jeffrey, so I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but that is what I take to be the case. That they need to show that they are getting bigger. That's why that there's a big push for different models, different payment methods, different subscriptions and smaller ways that once we've bought the game, which we can now get in 5 different varieties of a deluxe edition, on top of that, you want to be selling that same customer, DLC, microtransactions, everything on top of it, because it needs to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where, or at least part of where the pressure comes from, and that is where a lot of the strategies are aimed. They don't really care about the long-term reputation like someone like CD Projekt or many other companies besides. They value how they look. I think Rockstar, you could say, is one company that really quality is, they want quality games that people really love, and that's part of their business plan. But then someone like Ubisoft or EA, maybe they're recalibrating after everything that's happened in the last year or so. But they have been a lot more like scorched earth. Like, it doesn't matter, just get the games out and get all the tech along with it and everything.
I think Rockstar have a nice balance because they've got the really well-made single-player campaign, which is a lot of what like the core gaming community like. But then they have got the GT Online, which rakes in the money and pleases the investors. So I think even though GT Online is not very good anymore, it's still like a nice balance, I guess, because they still have their reputation for making high quality single player games, but then they've got that added mode to please the investors.
I think it's really important that everyone understands that pissing your consumer base off, pissing your customers off, is not a good long-term profit making potential. Keep your customers happy. I mean, that's the factor that they're not EA and the likes aren't keeping into the equation.
But that's what you've got to ask there. So Jeffrey was asking specifically about loot boxes and psychological manipulation schemes, and there's things like patents that that we've covered in the news that are very specific microtransaction advertisement methods to get you into matchmake to be playing multiplayer games with people who have bought microtransactions or who happen to have super powerful items or whatever. And then obviously the high profile case of Star Wars Battlefront, where that was a very in-your-face model that game had, where everyone playing the game was just had loot boxes just smashed in their face like they were playing a mobile game or something. Does that come from investors? No, I really don't think so. It just comes from EA. But the pressure to make money does come from the investors. So EA are just kind of scrabbling, seeing what they can get away with, constantly pushing things, nudging things a bit closer. This time with Battlefront 2, they just nudged a bit too far, and they really felt the repercussions for that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you'd see businesses like EA and others just kind of recalibrating things over the next few years, because they've got to be a little bit more consumer friendly. Careful, exactly. So the second half of Jeffrey's question, that was just one half of it. Were you to buy stock in one video game industry company, which would it be and why? So if Liam, if you had to buy some stock in a games industry company, who'd it be?
Be like Sony or Kojima Productions, something like that.
Kojima Productions is an excellent shout.
Yeah, because
yet to make a game.
They are yet to make
unproven.
A game.
Unproven.
They are very unproven. But I feel like if I was an investor, I would just give people money and
getting in at the ground level, isn't it?
Getting at the ground level. And just out of morbid curiosity, I suppose, throwing money at them just to see what madness unfolds. Yeah, I'd be all right supporting that.
Guess what about you?
What I would do is probably go to one of these video game conferences like EGX or whatever and talk to some indie developers and speak to them firsthand about their passion in the game that they're producing, and then invest that way. Invest in people who are creative and have got passion for what they're doing. And I feel like you'd make a bigger difference to a small team and an indie development team like that than you would. I mean, I'd rather make a difference to people and to create and help and support create something that's special. And I can make that kind of decision when I talk to someone and look at their game and see how they go about creating things and things like that. And you make a difference to a small company like that and help generate maybe an awesome game. I think that would be ultimately more rewarding way to invest. Because it's win-win if it turns out all right in the end. Yeah,
I think it's a difficult question to answer because a lot of you can do it now. You can just go on Fig and you can invest in games and be a part of it. If you've got the money and you want to invest in something, then you can do it. And there's other sites as well that let you do it, and it is a lot like investment, like the Atari one with
the Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Where they were literally asking fans to invest in it. And you'll get a 25% discount on the game if you invest $750.
So generous.
That was like the minimum donation as well, was it? Investment.
The minimum,
Sorry, it's not a donation, investment.
It's true.
The minimum
it's not a crowdfunding
The minimum was $250, but So you had to give $250, but you could give $750 if you wanted a 25% discount.
Yeah. You could give £700 and not get any discount.
Yeah, exactly. What an absolute state that is. And then a lot of games are just owned by the fans. I guess they're in early access or they've been supported on Kickstarter or something. So I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, I guess. But it's a good topic, Jeffrey, and good luck with your investments. I don't know. Stay at Home Gaming asks, with the talks of games not costing consumers enough, what do you guys think the next price hike will be? Games in the US are $60 brand new, with things like season passes and expansions taking the price over $100 to $120 much of the time. It's a really good question. Are we going to see a price hike in the future, do you reckon, guys?
I don't know. The market will always dictate the price, right? If people are willing to pay $80, then that's what... only one person has to try it and succeed for the market to adapt.
Set the bar.
Yeah. So I feel like they put the blame on consumers. Like, the consumers aren't paying enough for games. They should be more expensive. No, that's not how it works. You set your game at a higher price, and if it sells, congratulations. If it doesn't, don't fucking blame us. That's just not how it works. I don't know. I feel like... there's a lot of scapegoating. It's like, we're a lowly company. We're trying to make. How can we make money? Oh, we're only trying to make money. It's like, get over your fucking selves. You're a company. You're making your own decisions, and you're trying to scapegoat the consumers for not paying enough money. Charge more money. Don't lower yourselves to these shady business practices to try and scheme money out of people and submit yourselves to that bullshit.
So you reckon a higher price would work? You reckon that?
Maybe it would. I'm not here to say that, but what I'm saying is they should take the risk. They should take the risk.
Yeah. Liam, what about you?
I think if there is a hike, it'll probably be an even number, $80 maybe. I don't know why I feel like that. But $70 doesn't sound right.
It's just pushing it closer to that $100 bracket. I don't know whether that's like a psychological thing. It's just a little bit closer to $100, and that's just like fucking hell. It's too much.
I suppose if they increase it incrementally, it'll be like people just won't notice because they'll just acclimatise to it over time.
$66.95 or something.
Well, it's been happening in the UK with Star Wars Battlefront, and that was square £50. Like cheapest that you could find it, and that
wasn't it like $59.99 digital as well.
Yeah, exactly. It'd gone up by a $5. So normally in the UK, digital games on the PlayStation Store are £55, and that is kind of standard. Some of them are a bit lower than that, like PlayStation exclusives and stuff, but mainly £55. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was 60.
Yeah,
and that is, that's creeping up then, isn't it? It's nudging up. So £60, and I don't know what the situation was in the US, but that's a lot of money for one game, especially one that's spilling over with controversial loot boxes and one of the worst progression systems you've ever seen. So I think it's got to be a nudging up, isn't it? That's
well, I mean, the bottom line is if they're taking too much money to produce their game, they've got one of two choices. They either reduce their operating costs, take the cost to develop the game down, or they increase the price. That's business. That's how it works. So that's their choice. If they choose to up the price, or they choose to lower the costs, like making people redundant, whatever. I mean, it's a business decision to be made, but there's no responsibility on us. I mean, we'll pay what we're willing to pay, and that's just.
I think AAA gaming is learning a lesson at the moment with the likes of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Battalion 1944, which is trying to do the same thing, I suppose. Where AAA is so focused on polish and fidelity, and it's got to look amazing. It's got to be really smoothly animated. It's got, it doesn't really, like, PUBG is not an amazing looking game, or at least it wasn't when it was picking up. I haven't actually seen it in action recently, but in the early part of last year, when everyone was talking about it, everyone was jumping on board. It was janky. It didn't look great. There's vaulting. There was trailers for vaulting. You couldn't vault over waist-high things, and that was, that wasn't in there. And still, it became an absolute juggernaut of a game, right? Yeah. It's because the game was fun to play, and it doesn't. That was a good idea. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was a great game design idea. But is Assassin's Creed still a great design idea? I don't know why I keep picking on Assassin's Creed. Let me pick some else.
Leave those assassins alone, Mike.
Is Call of Duty a great bit of game design still? I don't know. But it's super polished. It looks great. The campaign is all cinematic and whatever. But that's where the money's going. It's not going in the development of great ideas. It's going in polish and maybe it doesn't need to be there. Maybe it doesn't need to cost that much to make the games, because we will accept games like Battlegrounds if they're fun. And Battlegrounds isn't that expensive to make, or at least it wasn't. But it's not compared to Call of Duty anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's a really good question. Josh Northall next up then. He asks, what is your opinion on cutscenes and set pieces? Would you rather sit through a cutscene like Metal Gear Solid or something, have it be like stuff in COD? That's how that was written, Josh. Where the game tries to make you think you have control, but you're very limited. So do you want to just sit back, watch a cutscene, or do you want to be in it somehow? Liam, I mean, you've sat through a lot of cutscenes in your life.
many a cutscene.
What's your opinion?
If it's like in the COD example, I would much rather just sit back and watch a cutscene, because there's nothing more frustrating to me than giving me the illusion of control.
Oh yeah.
When I don't really have, like the Battlefield 3 campaign and stuff like that, where you have to.
Oh my god, yeah.
It gave you full control, but you couldn't walk through a door until your like AI companion booted it open for you.
Yeah.
And that stuff is just so frustrating to me. I'd rather just watch a cutscene of them open the door than sit there waiting for something to happen.
You're totally right. Battlefield 3 had that plane jet fighter section.
Yeah.
You couldn't even fly the plane.
Yeah.
You just sat in the back.
You press buttons every now and then.
And then you just looked at other planes and clicked on them to fire the missiles or whatever. It was
stuff like that really annoys me.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
That's not fun, is it? Gaz, where would you stand on cutscenes?
I'm not a big fan of huge cutscenes, I'll be honest. I'd rather just, have control myself. And there's games like Persona 5, which notorious for taking control away from you to have a little bit of dialogue, and then it gives you control again. You take 3 steps, and then it backs to another bit of dialogue. That, again, is another frustrating thing for me, which I don't really appreciate. I'd rather just the control. Just give me the control. I don't care about the fancy-looking graphics or cutscenes, or like turn my head artificially to look at an explosion like you do on the Omaha Beach in COD World War II. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather a good game that's fun to play rather than fun to watch. Watch a movie if that's what you want.
We were playing Shadow of the Colossus in the office the other day to do a video on it, and Jake was controlling the game, and there was these wonderful cutscenes. And for some reason, really well framed, like proper like artistic direction, really really good stuff, right? But for some reason, they let the player control it. And then about halfway through the cutscenes, Jake realised that and was just moving the camera all the time. I'm trying to fucking watch the cutscene, and the director is moving the second director.
Jake had control.
So that, and then what's the point of that?
Because it's fun for him.
I'm sure it was. But, why is that in there? Why do you want to, you don't get anything out of moving the camera around very slightly except being annoyed. So, I think if you stick to your guns, if you're doing cutscenes, just do cutscenes, direct them, and then just do a good job of it. And try and choose your moments. Don't be like plucking you out of the gameplay constantly to show you yet another cutscene, because that's not fun. But if you want to set the tone at the beginning or something, if it's a level-based game, that's where I stand. I do like a good cutscene, but as long as it's if it comes at the right time and it's well done, but it's a good question there, Josh. Good job. Thank you very much. Nick Phillips. There seems to be an increasing blurriness between game genres in the past few years. Are there any specific genres you like, or more importantly, ones that really grate on you? Guys, what's your favourite genre?
A genre? I like a mixture, right? I like action, adventure, RPG. I like these games where you've got all different types of gameplay. The prime example I always use is Mountain Blade Warband or Mountain Blade series, where you like it's an RPG, it's an adventure, it's a strategy game. There's so many aspects to it. It keeps you interested. If you get bored of one type of mechanic, you can just focus on another for a while. My favorite would be like action or strategy. I mean, I can lap them up days on end. They are billions now. I'm 60 hours in. It's just a simple real-time strategy game, and I'm 60 hours in, and I want to play it. Every waking moment is dedicated to thinking. Well, I'm not thinking about work or gaming. I'm thinking about that game and how I'm going to take down those zombies.
You're like one sentence away from going, please help, please help. Every waking
I just
moment.
love it. Yeah, I just love it.
Okay, any that really grate on you? Any? genres?
Maybe there is, but not.
Do you want to sit on that then while I throw the first question over to Liam?
For sure.
It's a hot bit of hosting there. Are there any specific genres that you like, Liam? I know there's many genres that you're a big fan of.
Like mashup genres?
Anything that you're a particularly huge fan of. He's asking about blurriness between game genres, so anything that's crossing some lines, I guess. Some crossover type games.
I suppose. I don't know, your cinematic adventure-y game type things like Uncharted, where it's got like quite basic third-person shooter gameplay.
Yeah, basic is right.
Very bit harsh.
That was just a little joke among friends, Liam.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I know.
Cheap dig.
But then it's got like the sort of almost telltale-y type thing, especially in Uncharted 4, where you had like the dialogue tree and stuff like that. Yeah, things like that. I like that sort of thing. So it adds a bit of just like some nice natural pace into those sort of games, I guess.
I think even the Telltale type stuff, there's so many gameplay mechanics today that stem from role-playing games, like old school PC role-playing games, where they had all these different things going on, and then a big game like Horizon Zero Dawn, it owes so much to old school role-playing. You never really consider that. You just think of it as an open world action adventure game, but it's got full of role-playing elements. Even racing games like Forza and whatever, they've got RPG elements in them. And then the developers of Forza Horizon, they're working on
an open world RPG
now. So there's weird, crazy amounts of crossover when it comes to RPG mechanics because they're in everything. Yeah. They're in everything these days. I think COD, Modern Warfare as well. That owes a lot to. A lot of games owe a debt to that because that just brought progression and RPG mechanics into multiplayer. What a genius move that is! Changed the face of multiplayer for the last 10 years or whatever. Whenever that game came out, it's completely changed the way multiplayer is done single-handedly. Any genres that grate you guys?
3D platformers, man.
Oh. Yeah. You don't like
your Marios, your Spyros, all you're running around jumping in a 3D world trying to platform.
Well, you might as well be slapping both of us in the face.
It's like, there's my childhood gone.
Yeah, I think I completely missed that time period, right? Because I was a youngster way before that. The 3D thing was, so I miss, in them days I was playing Call of Duty and
Oh, you mean when 3D platforming was
at its peak,
booming?
Yeah, I was playing the Call of Duties, and before that, Total War, the original Total War. Those were my games to play.
Yeah,
3D platformers. I didn't get the hook. I just never entered in it. So I'm playing Mario these days, and I just don't understand why it's loved so much because it's just not something that appeals to me.
Yeah, I think if you're playing games on PC in the early 2000s, it's a bit of a blind spot for you. Yeah. In terms, at the time you wouldn't have even been thinking about it, which is easily done, I guess. Liam, any genres that are great on you? Any crossovers? Any blurry genres?
RPGs that have like a grid-based battle system annoy me because I'm not a fan of like tactics games at all. Yeah. And I prefer when I see turn-based RPG, I automatically think like menu-based, like Final Fantasy. So when it's like a battle on a grid and you've got to take turns and you've got action points, puts me off immediately.
There's a lot of Japanese games that do that. And there's the Final Fantasy Tactics kind of sub-series and that, isn't it? And then you've got like Banner Saga, I guess, like Western,
like that sort of RPG just really doesn't appeal to me at all.
Fair enough. Yeah, crossing over the old RPG with a bit of tactics. Yeah, I can see that. They're not my favourite either, and I really like strategy games. I love tactical games as well, like XCOM, one of my favourite games of all time. Like, and that's just it doesn't really appeal to me having that Japanese kind of RPG with those kind of mechanics, that flat plane. Yeah, I don't really get it. I'm a huge fan of strategy games, so that's my favourite genre. And then any kind of I guess it is a crossover in a sense, but it's Total War in it. It's tactical battle, but also Crusader Kings style grand strategy, but obviously less detailed. But so that's a bit of my strategy mashup that I really like. As far as genres that grate on me, I don't know. I don't think there's any genre that really pisses me off other than football. Because I just don't understand it. I just buying it every year. That's I just don't get it. But yeah, so that answers that, I guess. Thanks very much, Nick. Gareth McKelvey asks, currently playing Just Cause on PS2. What? Is it on PS2?
The first one was, yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
Bugger me.
There you go.
Gareth McKelvey asks, currently playing Just Cause on PS2. So I had to reset then because I was just my mind, my
Unless it
world
means
was...
the third one, which is on PS4. I don't know, but...
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's 4. I'm just currently playing Just Cause on PS2. Do you think it matters when games are a blatant rip-off of another game? Yeah, that's like unrelated, but do you think it matters? Does it matter when a game's a blatant rip-off of another game? What's Just Cause a rip-off of?
GTA, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah, like...
It's a bit more extreme, though, isn't it?
The first one was kind of very basic, open world. It didn't have like the crazy chaos that everyone
from Just Cause 2.
Yeah, that everyone grew to love.
Yeah.
So and the first one was quite a dull,
subdued
open world.
It was like Mercenaries a little bit.
Kind of.
Guess.
Yeah, and with the like working for different factions and stuff like that.
Military situation, open world. Yeah, I guess so. Does it matter when games are a blatant rip-off? I think it can be a little bit. With Fortnite, I was like, come on, this is just what is this? Mm-hmm. But then after a certain point, it doesn't matter because Fortnite's massive now. It's got its own thing going on. It's using its own set of mechanics that it had with the crafting and building and survival stuff, and it's doing its own thing. But at the time when Fortnite was revealed and the gameplay, I couldn't believe it. When we were playing it, we played it in the office, and it was so similar. I was like, how are they getting away with this? But I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think it matters to an extent, but if something's popular, people are going to copy, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you make a good thumbnail on YouTube and like 5 other channels.
Yeah, for example. Hypothetically,
just out there.
For example.
So you just got to innovate and keep it up. I mean, Minecraft was created. It's like one of the biggest games of the last 10 years or whatever. And Notch even said that he was kind of ripping off, if you like, or using other inspirations to make Minecraft. So that was an iteration of something that came before it. And now that's where the line goes grey, right? How much of it is an iteration? How much of it is a straight rip-off?
A clone.
A clone, if you like. So, I mean, I don't think it matters so much apart from to the person that you're ripping off. However, it is, the onus is on you to make it iterative and not just copying the fuck out of something.
Mm-hmm. Liam, do you ever get annoyed when... you see a clone, an obvious clone?
Not really, because I think it all comes down to the execution. Like, a lot of people copy Souls games, and there is quite a few awful ones, but you've got really good ones like Neo and what was the last one?
The Surge.
The Surge, yeah, that was was decent.
They're not copies then, though. Essentially,
no, they have their own unique features.
But you can't. The thing with those games is though they wouldn't exist if it wasn't
Souls. Exactly, yeah.
And they take the basic premise from them, like where the ultra hard difficulty, you lose your like leveling up points when you die and stuff like that. But yeah, it all comes down to execution for me. If a clone is done well, I think it's not really a clone then, it becomes its own thing.
Yeah. If it's making people happy,
who are we to judge?
You know what I mean?
Like Fortnite, people really enjoy that. The Battle Royale mode.
And it's free, and there's an excellent value proposition for that reason.
It offers something different, and that's why it's not a clone.
But I guess, you could go into the mobile games and stuff. Some games that are on mobile in China and stuff that are battlegrounds. They are player-unknown's battlegrounds.
There's that Cuphead game, which is literally Cuphead badly ported to iPhone.
Yeah, and then they were trying to sell it as Cuphead. Yeah. That's like a whole other level. Like, okay, but yeah, that's what we think of blatant rip-offs. Gareth McKelvey, thanks for your question. Mounty Man, it's quite a long question. In games such as Rust, where you are trying to build yourself up, usually at the expense of others, by stealing their resources, do you think that people act in these games like they would if there were no laws or consequences in the real world? That's the second half to this question. Do you think games have the ability to expose parts of the human psyche at all? Or are they so detached from reality that you can't actually gain any knowledge of the real world from the way people behave in games sometimes? So people behave like sociopathic lunatics in video games. What does that really relate to what they're like in real life, do you think? I don't think it does.
That is actually a really good question, and we're getting a lot of good questions in this podcast so far. But yeah, I mean, does it really? Is this what humans will be like? I don't think so, because there's no consequences, real life consequences in a game like Rust, right? So if you steal someone's shit in real life, they're going to punch you in the face, right? They're gonna if there's no laws, they're gonna kill you. You're gonna feel some sort of backlash from them physically. You do it in Rust, what's the worst they can do? There's no real life consequences to that. So I don't think you can make that comparison. Really, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of writing and scientific investigation into the idea of simulation and. So, if something isn't real, how do you behave compared to the real world and stuff? And it is a massive, massive topic. And it's like, that's what's at the core of, like, if you will, mass murder pedestrians in Grand Theft Auto, does that mean you'll go out and do it in real life?
Yeah.
Well, no, because millions of people have mass murdered pedestrians in Grand Theft Auto, but, the same is not true in real life. So I don't know, it's a big topic. What do you reckon, Liam?
No, I don't think people behave in real life like they do in games.
Do you think there's a big detachment between game behaviour and real life behaviour?
It's like Gareth said, there are no real world consequences if you do something in a video game. You can't it's like, I know a lot of people in stuff like Fable, they play a character as evil because they know it's a escapist power fantasy sort of thing. They know once they turn off the Xbox, they're just going to go about their normal life. They could be a hard-working, loving parent or something.
Yeah. And
they just use the video game as an outlet, a fantasy release outlet sort of thing, I guess.
It is pure kind of escapism, isn't it? In a lot of ways. And if you're really into action movies and martial arts movies and like Rambo and classic 80s, movies with like plenty of bullets and explosions in, does that really tell you something, or does that mean you just like seeing some action? It doesn't really pertain to how you're going to be in real life. But, it's not all about behaviour as well, I guess. It's about who you are a little bit. And, I for example, feel really guilty in a strategy game if I leave some guys behind. And it kills me. And that's why XCOM is so good. Because when in XCOM, when you lose soldiers, you feel terrible. You're like, oh, my...
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe they're gone.
I get that. Totally get that. Yeah. To the point where I couldn't play anymore.
So that's the thing. And then how does a game achieve that? But they're nothing. They're just lines of code that look kind of like cartoon people, but you care about them. So there's got to be some real connection there with who you are when you're playing the game. I think the thing about no consequences is the big point, though, isn't it? It's because you got nothing to lose when you're playing a game. You're fully inside that simulated world, so it doesn't. You can do whatever you want, really, and that's the appeal for a lot of people.
That's like it's like I equate to this. You're probably not going to get me or go with me on this, but it's like you can have the most evil thoughts imaginable, right? You could murder people in your head. You could do all sorts of unimaginable things in your head.
I love the preamble to this. You're not going
to go with this. I'm not saying I do that, but no. But you could. In real life, it's, it doesn't mean that you're going to be some sort of person. You might fantasize about them kind of things. You might get up to all sorts of crazy things. Yeah. Like I said, I've probably lost you all already. But it's still, unless you do something, playing a game does not mean that you're an evil person. Doing something evil in a game thinking something evil does not mean you're an evil person. Because what matters is what you do in the real world.
I think the thing about violence as well is like a weird I can't explain it. I can't explain why when I play... I'm not a violent guy at all. I hate guns in real life and all that, and sorry if that upsets you, but that's who I am. But I love the feeling of shooting in Destiny. I don't know why. I just but it just feels amazing. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. What does that say about me? I don't know, but I never in a million years would think that if I hadn't picked up the controller, fired up Destiny, played that game. So there you go. I've just said two things that will really piss off people. I don't like guns. I really like Destiny. So that's...
I mean, that was not what I picked out. It was the fact that you like shooting people with a controller. But, I mean, each to their own.
It's... okay. All right.
I mean, you could use a mouse and keyboard, isn't it? I mean, use your controller if you want, but that's fucking up to you. Shooting a mouse and keyboard
is great as well. Shooting in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is good. And it's like a very precise, like a snap to it. It's nice.
Feedback.
Yeah, it's nice. But it's no Destiny. Thanks, Mounty Man. Jack Hill says, I finally gave up with Destiny recently. Oh, what a coincidence. I finally given up with Destiny recently when the writing team called the lore for Destiny 1 folklore, so they can ignore or change the stories they don't want to carry on because they are lazy or just can't. I'm a massive lore nerd with games I get into. Have you guys had any game where the lore of the game has kept you playing longer than you would have normally? So that Destiny situation, kind of like Disney's takeover of Star Wars. Loads of Star Wars stuff.
Throughout all that extended universe.
Yeah, and there was loads of Star Wars, the movies had been around for decades, and there was all these comics, books, everything, the games even, this extended universe stuff that you could really get into to explore. Disney came along, bought Star Wars, said, all that is, just forget it, it's not canon, didn't happen. I know that doesn't mean anything because it's all made up anyway, but it's like, now it's made up stuff that is not, considered real or whatever. It's a weird thing, canon, but that still upset me because there was a lot of books that I'd read and I loved the stories and I loved where they came from and stuff. So then apparently that's just happened with Destiny. I haven't read a single lore note for Destiny, I've got to be honest.
No, I didn't.
And I didn't play Destiny because of the lore. I played it because of the shooting, as we've just established.
So for games like that's just thrown out there for you, Lord of the Rings, right? You're super into Lord of the Rings games because of the lore, right?
Yeah,
that's part of it.
100%, yeah. And so something like Battle for Middle-earth, which is a strategy game I played on the Xbox 360, and I absolutely loved it, and it shouldn't have worked, a strategy game on a 360, but I bloody loved it because it was a Lord of the Rings game, and it was one of few kind of offerings that I had to explore that kind of game. Is exactly what I wanted. Strategy Lord of the Rings game. Yeah, so that's my answer. Cheers, guys.
You're welcome.
Liam, what about you? Any games that you love because of the lore, not necessarily the game?
I played a lot, pretty much all of the Star Wars games before, like you said, Disney threw them out. Yeah. Stuff like Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, Republic Commando. I played all of them and I loved it because it was just giving me more Star Wars.
Yeah, totally.
And just the prospect of more Star Wars, and especially I remember when Republic Commando came out, I was like, I had to get that game like day one because I was young at the time and I was still quite hyped around Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, what happened between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith? This game tells me that, so I had to play it.
Very nice. So, good answer. A lot of great Star Wars games, and the fact that they were Star Wars just kind of makes it pretty special. What about you guys? Any lore games that you've played?
I'm going to kind of twist this question because I don't really have a decent enough answer. But if there's one kind of fantasy world that I really would play the fuck out of any game, if they brought any game, because I love the lore so much, would be Game of Thrones. Why they don't have more Game of Thrones video games is beyond me. It's completely, I would play the fuck out of all of them because I love that world. I just love that setting. I just love everything about it. It is my favorite book series, favorite film, favorite TV series, favorite everything so far as the lore goes. I absolutely love it. It's so deep and far-reaching.
So did you play the mod for Crusader Kings, the Westeros? So you played that. So and that is a direct answer to Jack's question. He said, "What would you have played longer than you normally would have?" Were it not for the lore. So that Game of Thrones lore has been brought into the game, and then same for me actually with Lord of the Rings. It was brought. Someone did an excellent mod for Medieval 2 Total War. And that was just complete conversion, just changed the whole game to a Lord of the Rings strategy game. That was unbelievable. I played Medieval 2 Total War last year. I would not have done that if it wasn't for the Lord of the Rings mod. That's what I was playing on it. Great question.
Sorry, just to finish that question, just a bit of information that I found out this week is Kingdom Come Deliverance is getting a Game of Thrones conversion mod, and it's the people who were working on Total War Attila conversion, or the Game of Thrones conversion for Total War Attila. They've completely dropped that now because of a Kingdom Come Deliverance, because it's using the Cry engine, if I'm correct. Is it or is it Unity? Sorry, I'm getting confused. But it's because the engine is a lot easier to generate assets for. They've already started work on the assets for the mod, even though the game is out like next week, or it might be out this week if you're watching it on YouTube.
It is CryEngine.
CryEngine.
It's out 13th of February.
Yeah, so that is something that, as soon as I heard that, I got really excited. It's like, finally someone's fucking doing something about the lack of Game of Thrones games out there. Yeah. And Kingdom Come Deliverance looks like an ideal place to start with a Game of Thrones game, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, great question, Jack. Thank you very much. And one more before we move on to Fact of the Week and 30-second throwdown. Lord Dicer says, last week's Zen Garden was nice and positive. So last week we did a 30-second Zen Garden rather than a 30-second throwdown because no one was angry and we were in a peaceful mood, and I thought it would be nice to have some kind of some peaceful vibes, some happy words, and it was it went down pretty well. Some of you liked it.
You're saying the podcast was gazless, essentially.
Sorry?
I wasn't in the podcast, that's why
it
was so zen.
Because there was no one to do a 30-second throwdown. So Gaz
Nobody's angry.
Gaz is actually
I'm back, and guess what? I'm doing the throwdown this week.
So there you go. So there's going to be no Zen Garden this week, and it's actually going to be a rare and delicate flower that just emerges out of the blue, because it is a Zen Garden. You can't be pumping out a Zen Garden every week, so it's going to be 30-second throwdown business as usual, unless I feel pretty at ease. I'm feeling the tranquility descending upon me. That is when I'll do another Zen Garden. So that's what that's about. So let's do the question, shall we? Lord Dicer, onto his question. This week I'd like to see the anger flow through you. So in response to the Zen Garden, which was nice and positive, he wants to see the anger. What game fills you with white hot rage, be it because it's a shit game, the mechanics irk you in some way, or even one you love, but for some reason it always seems to kick your ass? I'd like to know. What game fills you with white hot rage? Liam, I feel like some games have pissed you off. I definitely feel like you play a game, you'll love it, but then there'll be one bit that you'll be like, that boss can fuck off or whatever. You always have. What was it recently with Monster Hunter? I'm pretty sure there was something that was following you around or something. Or was that?
I think that might have been Jake, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I was pretty chill for all.
You were happy with the?
I was pretty chill. Yeah, because I just ran away from him like you meant to. So
yeah, have you told Jake that? Have you told Jake he's supposed to run away from the?
I mean, it's not in the spirit of the Monster Hunter, though, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah, he can figure out on his own. So, what games have pissed you off?
I actually can't. Come back to me. I haven't actually got an answer off the top of my head.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of love-hate relationship, which was Neo last year. It's like, I'm so frustrated with that fucking game. I put the controller down, was like, I turned the console off. I'm not playing this fucking game ever again. And then within half an hour, I'm playing it again. But because the combat was just so pleasing. Just a great combat mechanic in the game. Just so fulfilling.
Very tight.
Yeah, that I just needed to play it again. But yeah, I mean, I don't. If I'm ever pissed off with the game, I'll just stop playing it. But there's one game that I kept coming back to because Jake equates it to like eating a chili or something. It's a spicy food. Like it's going to be painful, but you really enjoy it. It's the same thing with that. So that's kind of my answer.
Yeah. Okay. Neo. I think a lot of people could find sympathy with that. Any other kind of Souls games, really. They I guess they can be rage-inducing because they do try. They set out to kick your ass. So they will get that out of you. Liam, have you thought one? You don't have to. Don't worry. You can say no.
What about you, Mike?
What about you? No. I get pissed off.
When I got to the end of Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, and the game was just shit.
Yeah.
And it was annoying how shit it was.
Yeah,
right.
It was like, I can't believe people are giving this like 9 out of 10 reviews.
Right.
What's wrong with people?
Okay. I always think about Nintendo games. It's the same thing with me.
Oh man.
I mean, Xenoblade is a Nintendo game.
There you go. They're all in the same boat for me.
Okay, so bad. It pissed you off. It fills you with what?
Yeah, because it was like an offline MMO, and the combat was shit.
Yeah.
The leveling up mechanics were shit. The like open world map was so poorly designed.
Yeah.
But everyone was saying how amazing and essential this game was. It was like one of the few Wii U games. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah, but it was shit.
Yeah.
It was just shit.
When game libraries are small, when consoles are new, then games stand out so much more. And that's definitely got something to do with it. I don't know what fills me with white hot rage. I'd get pissed off, but I don't think I'd ever describe myself as being, raging or furious or whatever at any game. I'm like you guys. If it's not working for me, I'll just do something else. Because my time is limited. I want to be happy when I'm playing a game, and if I'm not happy, then fucking piss off and I'll do something else.
I mean, why would you choose to be pissed off in your entertainment time? I mean, life is stressful enough.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend your free time getting pissed off with something.
Yeah.
Just Enter your Zen garden, isn't it?
The only time I have is Bloodborne, really, where it's like the sweet whiskey is so tasty that even though it's scorching my throat and is annoying me, it doesn't matter because it's still amazing and it's still messing with my head just like whiskey does. So I just kept playing through the pain, but the pain, and it was never like I never felt like I was about to quit or anything like that. I was just kind of grit and bear it kind of thing. So let's do Fact of the Week. If we can have the jingle, please. UK radio DJ Chris Moyles featured as an enemy in the video game adaptation of the TV show 24. He played an Eastern European terrorist who Jack Bauer fights at the end of an early level. It was, however, only Chris Moyles' face. The voice was provided by another actor. Right, so 30-second throwdown. This one's called Relying on Leaks. Guys, whenever you're ready.
Red Dead Redemption, a shitload of information got released last week, right? It was a leak. And why are we relying on these leaks? Why don't they just give us some solid facts about the game? We don't need to know the story. We don't need spoilers. Just game mechanics. Just a little taster of what. Don't just give us like a teaser, fucking pictures on Twitter and tease it for 3 days in a row, and then just one picture. That's bullshit. Give us some solid facts, and we won't have to rely on these fucking leaks. Just give us something.
Very nicely done. Just give us stuff, innit? Give us stuff. Maybe that would have been a better title. Just give us stuff. Would have been a better title for that one. Anyway, let's do some more questions. Next up is Cropper, who asks, are there any games you guys took years to play or an old game you picked up in a sale that surprised you for how good it was? I'm going to answer this one first because Dishonored, which I've already talked about before. I didn't play that when it came out. I didn't know what all the fuss was about. It didn't look like the kind of game that I played. Picked it up in a sale for like £2. And oh my god, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. One of my favourite games from that I've played in the last few years. I like the ultimate PC game for me. Really, really enjoyed it. So immersive. That's my answer. Yep. Any game you took years to play? Old game you might have picked up?
An old game I took years to play. I think I got Mad World for the Wii.
Oh yeah.
Which was one of Platinum Games' first games. I got it from Game for like £2.
Very distinct visual style.
Yeah, it had that sort of like comic booky graphic style to it. And yeah, it came out in like quite a while ago, and I got it for like £2 from Game, and I played it in like 2015, and that was just such a fun game. It was like I dug the Wii out the cupboard, plugged it in, played it. It was only like 4 hours long, and it was just such a fun, little enjoyable game.
Very nice.
Can't believe it took me that long to get on it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt with Dishonored. They're like, oh my god, why didn't I just play it when it came out? I couldn't believe, What about you guys?
I don't think I have anything, to be honest. I can't think of anything.
No older games that you've gone back to. No. I guess that you do like to play recent ones, don't you, when they pop up? So
I'd rather play an indie game, a new indie game.
Yeah.
Than jump into old games, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Cheers, Cropper. Thanks for your question. Timberwolf says, my question for this week, if you had the chance, what would be the first game you introduced your kids to? So I guess, Gaz, you can answer what you actually did do.
Yeah.
Which was what?
What if I had the chance, what would be the first game I'd introduce my kids to?
I guess the kids will introduce themselves to stuff.
Minecraft was a good one.
Yeah.
And kids play on Minecraft for ages, and I don't begrudge them that at all because it's ultimately a very creative thing. They just go in creative mode and they build things. Imagine that your 4-year-old kid saying, "Look at the duck I've built on Minecraft in a 3D world where she's had to fly around and place blocks in place." It's like it's the new Lego. Like it's ultimately a very creative and rewarding thing. All right, because it's not in the real world, and she's built like a duck out of Lego. It's in the 3D world, which essentially is going to help her more in the future in current times with where you can get a job in like 3D modeling or something. To start that at such a young age, I thought it was awesome.
What are you doing?
Probably
any essentials?
It'd be like a 3D platformer, probably something like Banjo-Kazooie or a Mario game.
Gus just kind of muscle memory reacting disgusting.
Yeah, I was twitching with that. So yeah.
It's just because like the ease of how anyone could play a Mario game.
Yeah,
you give Mario Odyssey to anyone of any age, and they'll be able to pick it up in no time.
Yeah.
And the colourful visuals and the appeal to everyone. Same with some like Banjo-Kazooie. It's cartoonish characters, easy to play. Yeah, so probably one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the Evans gene, but I tried my kids with Mario, Super Mario Odyssey, and they weren't taken by it either.
Weren't having it.
It must be the Evans gene. So.
Okay, well that's interesting. I'd introduce my kids to shit games from the 70s and the 80s.
Chronological
Pong, Pac-Man, all that shit. So then when they come to modern games, that'd be fucking blow their mind. They'd be like, what?
Imagine when they get to the PS1 era.
Yeah, exactly. The N64 is going to rock their world. So that's what I do. That's a good question.
Sorry, I tried film with Tetris the other day.
Okay.
And it didn't go down so
well. Of course, it's absolutely terrible.
It was Pyong Tetris or something.
Oh, Pio Tetris, the one on Switch.
Yeah. So you've got like Tetris and then that other game to the side, it's like dual screen. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she wasn't. I was like, look at this, it's awesome. You do lines and shit, and then she was like that.
It's a dreadful game. That's an imaginative question there, Timberwolf. Thank you very much. Blizzard Smith is next up. He asks, what are your opinions of trophies and achievements in games? I can get a bit OCD about them, but I'm nowhere near some people who won't even play things they know they cannot 100%. Who has the most platinums? I predict number 1. He's got this absolutely spot on. I predict Liam at number 1. Yes. Jake at number 2. Probably yes. Mike at number 3, yeah, I've got 2, and Gaz at number 4. You haven't got
with the duck.
Any. So Liam, you've got 6 platinums.
I do, yeah.
What are they? Can you remember?
Well, first off, I'll go most. We have Tekken 7. That game was just so compelling to me that I felt like I wanted to 100% complete it.
I remember you really enjoying that when it came out.
I did, really enjoyed it. Played an awful lot of it. Then we have Deadly Premonition, which was my first ever platinum. Okay. Again, a game that I found so compelling, I wanted to get it all. Yeah. Then we have Sly Cooper 1 through 3 on the HD collection on PS3, which they were just easy to get. I never would have predicted Sly Cooper 1, 2, and 3.
I don't even know what the fuck they are.
It's just because they were so easy to get. It was one of those. It was one of those might as well sort of jobs.
For me, that's the 1000G job. I remember getting King Kong, the official video game, which had 5 achievements in it. Each one worth
it's like complete the game on hard or whatever.
It was just play. No, not even
just
that.
play through the game.
Just play through the game. Yeah. Play through the game. And I don't think any other game had done that. And I was like in a race at the time for gamer score or whatever with my other sad friends.
I did that with my friends.
And, So I did that. I debased myself like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, recently I'm super not into it. You got any more trophies? Any more platinums?
Oh yeah, Captain America Super Soldier on PS3.
Jesus.
Because again, it was a might as well job, and I've got I've got quite a few games on like Xbox where I've got 1000G gamer score on them.
It takes the glisten out of the word platinum when it's like
might as well.
It was a might as well.
I'll tell you what, you got far too much time on your hands if you think, I might as well just complete this game platinum. I mean, if you far too much time on your hands.
I've never wanted to pursue trophies on a PlayStation or whatever. By the time I moved on to PlayStation 3, I was well over it. I was well bored of the gamer score stuff and all that. But recently I did try and platinum Bloodborne because I was playing through Bloodborne again for like the 3rd time or whatever, and I really, really loved it. And I was like, I've already got loads of trophies. I need like 4 or 5 of these really specific ones. It'll take a while, but I really wanted to do it, and I really worked hard, and I did it, to do it, I had to go through the Chalice dungeons in the game, which is like a side portion of the game, and that encouraged me into a part of the game I wouldn't have explored without the trophies, and I really, milked that game dry now. I know I've seen loads of, what they intended me to see anyway. I know there's full of secrets and stuff, but and I really feel like I've earned that platinum for Bloodborne. That's the only time I've really done it. The other platinum I've got is just the Telltale game, and I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know I was earning it. I just finished it and got it. And it was Tales from the Borderlands, I think, which is, what a shit platinum to have. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what Jake's are like, but Jake's probably got
I think he's got one for Far Cry Primal, which he questions why did he even
Exactly,
bother.
These are all weird. I feel like Bloodborne makes sense for me, but Tales from the Borderlands does not. I don't know why Sly Raccoon 1 through 3 are in your collection, but they are. What a weird system this is. So thanks for the question, Blizzard Smith. Robin Walker, with EA possibly being bought out by Microsoft, if you could purchase any game developer, which would you choose and why? So this is very similar to the investment one. How would you change the running of their development, or would you? So rather than invest in someone, if you could just buy a developer and get them to do whatever you want, they'd be like your personal development studio, who would you buy? I've certainly got a few ideas. I think I would buy, I know it's a really boring answer, but I would buy CD Projekt. And
That's fair. That's fair.
I know it's a boring answer, and I probably, I could have said something like Hello Games and tried to convince you why that would be a great idea, and I almost did.
That's a better answer.
I'm going CD Projekt, because they're just fucking good, and whatever I wanted, I know that they would do a pretty good job of it, whatever I tried, asked them to do. So I think they're all rounders. Maybe Guerrilla Games, that would be one of my options as well. Liam, is it Kojima Productions?
It's not Kojima Productions, but I'd like to buy Platinum Games.
Yeah,
I would just say make whatever you want to make, because they'll probably come up with something far better than anything I could come up with.
Yeah, very good.
And I'd be happy just to play whatever they put out.
Yeah, now I feel like a dumbass. Yeah. That's a great question. That's a great answer.
And they go through rough times. Like, their games don't sell very well, apart from like the odd one out, like Nier Automata or Bayonetta usually do all right. But yeah, I just buy them and say, make whatever you want.
That's an awesome answer. Gareth, who would you buy?
My answer is also my answer to who Microsoft should buy, right? And that is Obsidian. I think they should buy Obsidian, and I would buy Obsidian, and I would tell them to make a Fallout clone like they did with New Vegas.
Outfall.
Just make Outfall. Just make Outfall a 3D game like Outfall, and have at it.
That's just a good answer. Another versatile pick as well. The studio can do a lot of different. Well, within the RPG field, especially, they can do a lot of different things. That's another good question. Thank you very much, Robin. Daniel Sansom. Only a few more questions to go. Daniel Sansom says, "Great podcast, guys. What game has ever made you cry? Mine was the end of Final Fantasy X. What a tearjerker! The end of Final Fantasy X. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That.
I don't know. I don't really get evoked into crying by games. I do with films a lot. Movies really get me, but games not so much. Final Fantasy 15, I didn't feel like crying, but I remember feeling very emotionally kind of attached to the dudes at the end because I hated them. I hated them at the beginning of that game.
You went through
that's the magic of the road trip.
Exactly,
yeah.
and like I felt like a fifth kind of passenger there, and I was just like I felt like attached to them by the end, which is a great turnaround. So I felt very emotionally strong, and it's trying to hit you in the feels at the end of that game. Final Fantasy 15. So that's another Final Fantasy pick. Liam?
Be a bit cliche now, but the beginning of The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, that's a hard one.
It's
answered with my answer.
It's too sad that start. Yeah.
It's the yelp of the little girl and stuff and everything, and it's it's very simple. It's a very simple scene that is a father. Yeah. Spoilers, I guess. It's a father and his daughter's dying in his arms. Very, very simple image, but it's executed with cold kind of precision, and it makes it good answer. Yeah,
that was my answer too.
You thought, you go.
by my petulant reaction there. Yeah, it was definitely The Last of Us. It's the closest I've ever been to feeling any emotion in the game, playing a game. But it does stir up something. And me personally, obviously, because I'm a parent and I can identify with that scenario, and it's like it's like fucking hell. And they dealt with it, and the way that you portrayed it on screen, it was so heart-wrenching. It just gives you that connection straight away with the character, and that's where my deep love of the game comes. All right, it's like the crafting isn't great, and maybe the cover system isn't brilliant. I love that game. I always will because of that first.
I think the real genius of that moment, I think, as well, is the way that you can the way that they direct that game. Like, the camera is looking at Joel's eyes all the time while he's talking to Ellie, and he's not like saying much, and Ellie's like talking at him, and you always like kind of think back to that moment, like he's behaving in a way now that is directly affected and dictated by what happened to his daughter, and it's a really smart move. Like
it's great storytelling.
It's really good stuff. So next up, Nilman asks, are there any games that you have the urge to play even after watching the entire Let's Play series to the end? The most recent one was Bloodborne. I love the Souls games, and when Bloodborne was announced, I knew it had everything I wanted. So Nilman has watched all of Bloodborne right through to the end as a Let's Play series, but then he's gone on to play it. Have we ever done that? I don't know if I have. The only Let's Plays I've really watched are Total War ones, because I'm that predictable and boring. And they're the only ones that I've enjoyed, and the story's not that important, and I'm watching it for advice on how to play as much as anything else. So no, I can't say I have done that. What about you guys?
I definitely have. I watched Heavy Rain from beginning to end, and then I played it. It might have been a year or two later.
Right. Very narrative heavy game as well.
It is, and it's the type of game I like, right? And because you make your own decisions and you end up with your own ending. There's like 16 variations of the ending or whatever.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I know maybe I had some bits of it spoiled when I was playing it, because there are certain set pieces that happen no matter what you choose, right? So maybe it wasn't the best. I didn't have the best experience because of that, but I still loved the fuck out of the game. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Liam?
I don't really watch Let's Plays, but some guys on YouTube I watch who they started doing like a hard run of Resident Evil, the GameCube one, the remake. I kind of got the urge to play that. I might install it again and give it a go.
Yeah, I think watching someone else play a game is really makes you want to play it yourself. It's really kind of I don't know. There is something good about it, and I'm not kind of just because I don't watch Let's Plays, I'm not kind of dismissing it at all. I think I can just watch someone else play Total War and just really absorbing what they're saying. They're usually really good at it, and I just find it really entertaining. And it's like that kind of Big Brother effect or whatever. So if your Big Brother had a games console, you'd still watch him playing games. It's that kind of effect.
It's different when there's an expert as well. Like I've been watching They Are Billions. I watched this one guy beat the level on like the hardest setting on the hardest level on They Are Billions, and he did it without pausing the game. He did it live on stream. Like it took him 2 hours and 50 minutes. It's an absolutely awesome video, and he completely nails it. Such a dramatic ending. It was awesome. But like I say, you pick up so much by watching him, like the little tactics or whatever. And it's like, you just want to go and try him out, and like you just want to go and play it.
It's like watching someone conducting an orchestra or something. It's like, what the hell's going on here? There's so many people playing instruments, and it's all falling into place. It's really impressive. Thanks for your question there, Nilman. An awful lot easier than the last few questions we've had from you, so thank you very much for that. Very friendly Norwegian asks, if you had to choose between these opponents in a fight-to-the-death gladiator-style match, who would you pick? 3 very hungry raptors from Jurassic Park. A predator, melee variant, he points out there, 50 skeletons with swords, or Alien from the movies. So you got Alien, Predator, Jurassic Park, Velociraptors, or 50 skeletons with swords. Also, you may equip any armor and melee weapon from any game. So I'm going to go first. I'm picking lightsaber skeletons. I'll just be like wading through them like the Phantom Menace, when they're just kind of droids. They're just ripping apart. Easy fight. Like, just get out of my way. What about you guys? What would you go for?
The skeletons is the answer, right? Because everything else is just so
intelligent. The 3 raptors. I mean, they're
such a threat.
There's a hunting thing going on there. They wouldn't just come at you like the skeletons would.
The predator with his fucking right in your guts. It's the bad way to die, right?
Yeah. And the alien, obviously, is the ultimate killer machine. So
I mean, you don't want any of that shit.
Skeletons.
Just give me, all right, skeletons. It's going to take me down. At least it's a sword, and it's not fucking gruesome.
I'm actually going to develop my answer to beyond the lightsaber to the Darth Maul.
Oh, dual
wheel one. And I'd just have like this kayak rowing thing going on.
I think that's the right answer. There's no better answer.
Liam, what would you go for?
Well, I'll say Predator just for a bit. I have got reasoning because predators
are... you like the challenge.
Well, no. Because
Sparta.
In the movies, predators are like honourable hunters. Right? Yeah. So if you're in a one-on-one arena fight, they have to be honourable. It's like their moral code or whatever.
Yeah. But he's going to fuck you up. He's a predator.
Yeah, he's well going to fuck you up, man.
Well, not if you had like a lightsaber, you could easily fuck him up.
Right.
You'd have him, okay.
Because
easily? I mean, he's
got
does
like
he
a
have
spear.
does he have the cloak? He doesn't have the
Well,
fucking. He doesn't have the fucking laser shoulder thing.
No,
does
because
he?
if it's one-on-one honourable combat in an
No.
arena,
Yeah,
he shouldn't have his cloak because that's not fair, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
But that's the school. It's his skill set. It's his.
Yeah,
That's what he's got. Like it's his armory.
If if he was a Mortal Kombat character, which I think he is,
yeah,
he does go invisible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
one-on-one, well, it's quite, Mortal Kombat's meant to be a bit dishonourable, I suppose. I don't know. But that was a ridiculous question. Thank you, very
That's
friendly Norwegian. I think he did ask another question that was a bit more serious, but that was first on the list, so I went for that one. Maybe I should have read the other one. No, seriously, thanks, dude. That's a great question. Gritty Gaming with the last question of the podcast. Hey lads, Texan here. If you could have any part of Texas history made into a video game, which part would it be? And are any of the PGG crew a fan of Hell on Wheels? Also, Cullen Bohannon is my favourite Western character ever because of it now. Hell on Wheels, what is that?
it's a TV show, like Western. I've never seen it. I've heard good things about it.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
I don't know anything about Texas history. So
That's the problem here, isn't it?
The Old West, I guess. I'd have to
The
say.
Old West. It has to be. That's the only thing I kind of know about it. It's like,
Yeah,
Wild West,
so
innit?
we can't
The
be more
Western
specific.
frontier.
Wild West, isn't it? I'm sorry. We don't know our Texan history, so.
Who's Cullen Bohannon also? He's a guy on Hell on Wheels, I'm assuming?
I assume, yeah. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe we should get educated. Sorry, it's not.
Yeah. This isn't your fault. This is absolutely my fault as the host. So we'll leave it there. Sorry couldn't do that one any justice. But if you want to ask your questions, and also there were definitely some people that I just had to leave out this week because there were so many. If you want to ask your questions, just ask again in response to this podcast on our Patreon feed. Just reply to the post as a comment, and we will try and get it in next week for you. Thank you everyone for listening and for watching. We'll see you next time.